Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. We are halfway through the week, baby. How did that happen?
I don't know.
Time flies when you're having fun, so we must be having fun. Coming up later in the program, I'm going to have some fun chatting with Doug Vermeeren. He is a filmmaker and an author. And if you've got a youngster that's somewhat interested maybe in being in the filmmaking business, be listening because he's going to be chatting about that. If that's a good career field to get into. You think people are still watching movies these days?
Oh, yeah.
We'll find out. We'll see what he has to say. Australian researchers have found that eating food high in fat and sugar reduces anxiety. Lab tests.
I agree with that.
Scientists took two groups of young rats away from their mothers, gave one junk food, the other healthy food. They found the rats on junk food were much calmer than the rats with healthy food. The bad news is junk food is still bad for you. It makes you fat, and it's not good for you. It says here researchers say, next they'll see if exercise could be as good as junk food at relieving stress. Maybe you should have worked on that before you put out the study. Here's what we're working on. Give me a check so I can keep studying. I think that's kind of what they meant. All right, coming up here in a bit, we've got some special things happening today. We'll tell you what those are, and that's on the way.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Thought you'd never ask. It's Wednesday, May the 4th. Today's Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. It's also Childhood Depression Awareness Day, National Life Insurance Day. We were just talking about that. We have life insurance?
We do.
We got enough life insurance?
We do.
All right, good. Because you can never have enough, right? Or am I right? Or am I right? Right. From the Groundhog Day. And I probably got it wrong, and our son is probably yelling at our radio right now. Holocaust Remembrance Day today as well. Great American Grump Out Day. So if you know a grump, tell him to get over it today. International Firefighters Day. Thank you, by the way, to all of the men and women who put on that firefighter's uniform and run into burning buildings when we run out. I mean, that is awesome if they do that, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's International Respect for Chickens Day today as well. Hats off to all the chickens out there. You are delicious. It is National Day to Prevent Teen and Unplanned Pregnancy Day. Occupational Safety and Health Day. It is Petite and Proud Day, and it's World Give Day. A lot of stuff going on today.
There you go.
Get out there and celebrate one way or another. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Do you like fun t-shirts? Our friends at 80s Tees have a bunch of fun designs from the movies and pop culture. This month, we're giving you a chance to win a $25 credit to buy the t-shirt you like. With designs from Star Wars, Superman, Ghostbusters, Deadpool, and hundreds of others. Sign up to win a $25 credit. Register for free right now at winthisonline.com. We will select 2 winners at the end of this month. You could be one of them, but only if you register at winthisonline.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Planning on working in the convenience store industry? If so, make sure you don't have a superhero complex. It could get you fired. I think we talked about, I don't know if it's this one or if it's just another one like it, but we talked about something like this.
Where the guy saved the store
Yeah, but I think
from
this
a
is a
burglar.
different one. Antonio Feliciano was working at 7-Eleven in Martinsburg, West Virginia, when a man walked in with a sawed-off shotgun. I don't remember that part from the story before, do you?
I don't know.
I think this might be a different one. Anyway, the dude with the sawed-off shotgun wanted to rob the place. Well, Antonio had different plans. Instead of handing over the cash like many rational people would do, he decided to wrestle the gun away from the criminal. He succeeded. Nobody was hurt, and the robber left without getting anything. Very brave young man that Antonio was, and for his bravery and his courage, what was his reward? Same thing that happened with the other story we talked about. He was let go from 7-Eleven. Their policy says, if robbers are robbing you, let them rob you. Do not take matters into your own hands. It's not worth the risk to your life. So to make an example of Antonio and to show him that 7-Eleven means what they say about the robbery policy, they had to let him go. I understand that because here's the thing. As much as it stinks, the guy was being a hero.
But you know what? I understand them having a policy, and just the fact that they have the policy in writing would alleviate them from any lawsuit of any kind. So
I'll
if
bet
somebody
there's an
else
attorney involved somewhere that says if you guys don't let him go, then that's going to void this policy. And if somebody does get hurt, their family can then come after you.
Yeah.
So
I
that's what
disagree.
happens. Did your necklace just break?
It just came unhooked.
You got a whole lot of necklace there, first of all. You could probably beat somebody to death with that necklace.
Why do you think I wear this
You
necklace?
could ward off a robber
You
with that
never
thing.
know
Yeah.
who's going to be coming up on you.
Somebody with a sawed-off shotgun. I don't know, maybe at a 7-Eleven or something. All I know is this story happened, and you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. Two crooks steal the worst getaway vehicle of all time. Two men in Askvoll, Norway, broke into an ambulance boat, possibly looking for drugs. That's what they think, but they set off an alarm. The crew came running, and the men tried to escape in a small rowboat with one minor problem. Neither one of them really knew how to row very well. The ambulance boat quickly chased them down because they were paddling in opposite directions, therefore slowly turning in tiny little circles. One was paddling forward, the other was paddling backwards.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, boy. So they broke into the ambulance boat thinking they were going to score some sort of narcotics in there. That didn't work out, so they jumped in a rowboat and they paddled away, but that didn't work out either. So
I bet the people catching them were laughing so
if it were me, I would try to videotape them for a little while
Absolutely.
first. That would make a good video, if nothing else. Anyway, that's the kind of thing that happens, kids, when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Got your moment of duh right here, and I'm going to talk about this story here from McDonald's in Japan. A Japanese court has ordered a McDonald's to pay more than $70,300 to an overworked store manager that for years has had unpaid overtime. 46-year-old Hirosho Takano claimed that he'd worked more than 100 hours of overtime every month, never got a day off. He'd come to work at 6 a.m. and increasing the number of responsibilities would usually find himself heading home around midnight, and he was still making what he would have made if he was only working 40 hours a week. So finally, when he said, hey, I'd like to get more money, they said, well, we don't want you to work here anymore. So then they sued, and he won $70,300.
I think we already talked about that one. I remember this one. Mm-hmm.
I don't remember talking about that at all.
I remember him.
I wonder if maybe you read that on the internet or something.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
All right. Well,
that's all right, though.
I didn't.
It was a nice story. I'm glad his employers had to pay him.
I may have read the story, but I didn't hear it last time, so now I did. Coming up, we've got your scoop of the day. That is on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. Police say a 32-year-old woman drove a car into the lobby of a Comfort Suites in Effingham, Illinois. Witnesses say the woman then got herself a cup of coffee, lit a cigarette, and told employees, go back to work. Everything's fine. She drove into the lobby. Yeah, it's all good. You just go back to work. Don't worry about me.
Lights a cigarette.
Animal control officers have captured an apparently domesticated tiger that was spotted roaming a residential neighborhood in Conroe, Texas. Animal control officers caught the female tiger, which was wearing a collar and a leash attached. Authorities are asking for assistance in locating the tiger's owner. I wonder if they're going to have anybody come forward, because I think that's illegal, isn't it?
Well, I
Pretty
don't
sure.
know. I'm sure you have to have a permit. If you've got a permit
I don't know.
for it, I would assume you can have
Well,
it.
there you go. Hey, a JetBlue pilot was arrested after being caught flying under the influence of alcohol during routine testing last year. That's not good.
That is not good.
According to a federal complaint made public Wednesday of last week, Dennis Thomas Murphy Jr. was selected for random testing when the plane he was flying arrived at Kennedy Airport in April of 2015. He allegedly blew a .111 for blood alcohol content on a breath testing device. Blood alcohol content of .10 or higher is considered under the influence of alcohol for airplane operators. After being presented with the test results, Murphy reportedly stated the results must have been caused by his chewing gum. He's like, no, it must have been from my gum.
Yeah.
You let me know how that works out for you.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think that... What kind of gum do you chew?
Vodka gum.
Yeah, it's really good. It's made by Budweiser. It's great gum. Hey, researchers from the University College of London say that eating 7 servings of fruits and veggies is healthier than 5, which is the current recommendation. So saying, hey, don't eat 5, eat 7, because 7 is more than 5. And they needed a study for that. Mm-hmm. Why do we keep going back and forth to Facebook all day? Behavioral researchers from the University of Innsbruck in Austria say it's because we think we're going to enjoy it. I just got yelled at by you for being on Facebook.
Yes, we're supposed to be working.
Can we get some work done? I'm like, I'm on Facebook. Why in the world would I want to pre-read a story? I'll wing it. Anyway, they tested participants to guess whether spending 20 minutes on Facebook would make them feel better or worse. Guess what? They
Worse.
felt better. Contrary to the findings of an earlier experiment in which using Facebook put people in a worse mood, these participants felt that Facebook made them feel better. So they had one study earlier that said on Facebook you feel worse because you see everybody else having more fun than you are. But these guys, apparently, their friends weren't having fun. So they're like, I feel awesome. Hey, according to Facebook, the happiest day of the year is what day, Heidi?
Saturday.
No, the happiest day of the year.
Oh.
It is?
I don't know.
Thanksgiving. According to Facebook,
Whatever.
Gross National Happiness Index, which is a thing, they say they build the index to find out when people have the happiest status updates. Researchers from Facebook culled the stats from 2 years of anonymous updates and the site's 100 million users to find that people are happiest on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Grandma and Grandpa
The only
here.
reason that's true
We're
is
happy.
because the person who does all the work and gets up at 5 a.m. to get a turkey ready
too
is
busy to-
not having enough time to go and post on Facebook how miserable they are.
So they're too busy.
And they're still cleaning up till late in the
Stuffing
night.
giblets or
So they
whatever.
don't have any time at all to post how horrible the day is for them.
I can just tell you this. I always enjoy
Oh, I know
Thanksgiving.
you do.
I love
Yeah,
it.
you
It's
love
delicious. Except for when I have to carve the turkey. I'm still not good at that. If anyone's got a good tip on how to make that a better process, let me know. Every time I do it, I'm like, and everybody's watching you. So I'm over there trying to cut that, and everybody's
it.
watching
Everybody
me.
keeps picking up what you just cut off and
Hey,
eating
would
it.
you please
Can we
quit
just
messing with
wait?
my turkey? I'm going to get a finger in this thing. You ready for a strange law?
Sure.
You may not have an ice cream truck cone. What? Let me try that again. You may not have an ice cream cone in your back pocket at any time in the state of Alabama.
I don't know how you would do that anyway.
You can't legally in the state of Alabama, and you can't just because it wouldn't work in any other state. That is your strange law. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
Do you like fun t-shirts? Our friends at 80s Tees have a bunch of fun designs from the movies and pop culture. This month, we're giving you a chance to win a $25 credit to buy the t-shirt you like with designs from Star Wars, Superman, Ghostbusters, Deadpool, and hundreds of others. Sign up to win a $25 credit. Register for free right now at winthisonline.com. We will select 2 winners at the end of this month. You could be one of them, but only if you register at winthisonline.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We got a special guest on the phone with us right now. We're going to be visiting with Doug Vermeeren. Doug is, we're going to be talking today about how to help your children realize their filmmaking dreams. So, Doug, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Well, we're glad to have you on the program. Now, let's talk a little bit about your background. You've got some books out there and you've got some movies out there. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, I guess as far as movies go, I started when I was in the 2nd grade as a background extra. Kind of got bit by the filmmaking bug, and I've been with it ever since. Since that time, most of my movies have been in the personal development genre. In fact, most people consider my first movie to be the sequel to the hit film The Secret. And we were very fortunate with that one, had some really great success. In fact, it's now been translated into 23 languages worldwide. And then I put out a few other documentaries in the same genre, and now I'm moving more into the narrative pieces. And we've got a really big movie coming up with Creepy Zombies, which goes to camera in June, so just around the corner.
Wow.
So everything's going so well.
So it sounds like a lot of fun, exciting things there.
Oh, it's going really well. We've had a lot of really great success, and now we're starting to attract the attention of, I think, a lot of people in very successful positions in both Hollywood and New York.
So the one that you're working on right now, is that Creepy Zombies? Is that the one that one is?
It is. Yeah, it is. We're pretty excited about it.
Well, and I'll tell you, that's a category that there are a lot of people that are really into that right now, so I think this is probably good timing for that.
Yeah, we think so, too. Yeah, definitely.
So, again, visiting with Doug Vermeeren right now, and again, the topic is how to help your children realize their filmmaking dreams. So, first of all, if you maybe don't live in Hollywood, do you need to move there in order to make this a reality, or can you do this from Middle America?
You know, that's a really interesting question because I'm from Canada originally, but I've lived in Hollywood, but I've also lived in Europe, I've also lived in China, and now I'm back in Canada. And I found that while there's certain networks and connections that are really beneficial when you live in Hollywood, there's a lot going on there that could help. Nowadays, the way that our, I guess, technology has changed with computers, YouTube, and the way the technology is, you can actually make a film from almost anywhere and also receive distribution from almost anywhere.
Are you seeing more and more people filming outside of Hollywood these days, too?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, like I'm saying, even with, entry level for film, we're talking about getting your kids involved in film. There's more and more people putting up even just short films that are making money onto film platforms like YouTube and Vimeo and Hulu and some of these things. So it's really opened up the entire world for filmmaking.
So at what age do you typically see young people start doing things in the acting world? Is there an age where it's too young to start doing this?
I don't think so. It's really interesting because I now actually have two grandchildren. One of them is 2 and the other is 3. And there's even stuff for them to do to get out there and start participating in front of the camera. But what we find is that those who, grab the equipment and actually make the films rather than kind of star in them, we're finding kids even in grades 5 and 6 that are already producing some amazing stuff. And their schools often have the access to the technology, or they have iPads at home that they've got, and it's amazing. But really the bulk of the really great stuff that I'm seeing, because we actually are, I'm a director on a film festival called the Calgary Smartphone Film Festival. We see some amazing stuff from junior high, high school, and then, of course, even college and university age people.
Doug, if somebody listening maybe has children that are interested in getting involved in filmmaking, what kind of advice do you give them?
Well, I think there's a couple of things that I'd say. First of all, for the parent, number one, believe in your kid. Believe that it's possible, because there are so many careers for multimedia now. It is unreal. Just technology has opened up so many doors. So that's the first thing, is you need to believe in them, because they'll sense whether you do or whether you don't. So this idea of, continually pounding into them the idea of have a plan B or get a day job, I don't really think that that's fair. Because the truth of the matter is if they're going to be a lawyer or a doctor, not everybody makes it to that either, and there's a lot of hard work. So if they choose media, support them in it. It is a reality. Number two, I'd say a big thing to help your child is to help them get access to the education, and also in that education, the relationships. Like, I believe personally there's 2 reasons we ever go to school. One of them is to learn, but let's be honest with you, nobody's ever asked you on a job recommendation what your mark is on American history. So it's kind of secondary what you learn. I hate to say it, maybe people disagree with me, but what you learn in school is actually kind of secondary, and most of us don't remember that past the year that we graduate, right?
Yeah.
But what really is important at school is the relationships that we form there. So if you can get your kid into an audio-visual program or a film school or place where they can also form those relationships, I think that is primary and super important. And then the last thing, I think, is give them access to equipment. Like when I was in junior high, like middle school and high school, our school had only one VHS camcorder, and it was generally me that had it signed out every single weekend. Well, now that's not the case. Like, equipment is so much more accessible, and in some cases so much easier to use and affordable to use. And so help your son or daughter acquire that. And, it's so funny that even the latest issue of Movie Maker magazine talked about how a smartphone is essentially a full, complete studio in your pocket. It's got everything you need right there.
Yeah.
And so it's very easy to get your kids started.
And I just saw a thing online where there was a movie, and I don't know that it was necessarily a full-length movie, but it was a movie that was completely recorded and edited and put together all on an iPhone, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, and you know what? I know exactly the movie that you're talking about, but it's not the only one. That's the cool thing to mention, is we're seeing them again and again and again. And in fact, even at the film festival that, I'm a director on, I've had probably this week no less than a dozen full-length feature submissions that have either been shot on a phone or a tablet. And just for the fun of it, I'll probably even shoot one just to kind of try it out and see what they can do. I mean, I'm in a film festival as a director, so I should practice what I preach.
There you
But
go.
It's just so accessible. It's amazing.
Again, our guest today, Doug Vermeeren. Doug, if people would like to maybe learn more about how they can get their children, if they have kids, maybe they're interested in filmmaking, what resources do they have, and how do they get some of the information from you?
Well, I think probably the best way to get information from us, you can head over to my website for our Creepy Zombies movie, which will tell you about that movie, or to the Calgary Smartphone Film Festival, which will tell you about that film festival. But I think to get information for their kids, there's a lot of great websites there that talk about the film schools that are across the United States, Canada, and elsewhere. And YouTube has some incredible how-to videos on how to improve your framing for cinematography, how to capture sound better, how to light a scene, how to even find actors. So there's a lot of really great resources that are out there that are completely free. Right? They're 100% accessible.
Very nice. Douglas, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been good to be on with you.
Again, Doug Vermeeren, and I'll give you the website if you'd like to know more about Doug and the fun things that he's up to, and there's information about the creepy zombie movie and all of it on his website, which is douglasvermeeren.com. Thank you so much for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Texas is the only state that allows voting from outer space.
Really?
Not exactly sure how that works, but
Well, if you're an astronaut.
there you go. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Val Kilmer once considered a run for governor of New Mexico.
I could see that.
That's interesting. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Roy Rogers' horse, Trigger, was ridden by Rogers in every one of his motion pictures. After the horse died at age 33, he was mounted over a plaster likeness and put on display in his museum in Branson, Missouri.
Wow.
So you can go see Trigger there. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
In Morse code, a sequence of 5 consecutive dots represents the number 5.
Okay.
So if you want to know Morse code, at least I can teach you that one. It's just dot, 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 dot. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
There are 5 fingers in a bat's wing. So if you look at their wing, they have what looks like big, long fingers, and they call them fingers. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that?
Henry Fonda has a son named Peter Fonda, and he's
know.
also an actor.
I know that.
Did you know that, Peter Fonda?
Yeah.
Do I know who that is?
Well, I just assumed everybody knew
right.
who Peter Fonda.
Well, in our final fun fact for you, Yuri Gagarin of the USSR was the first man in space. I had no clue. How did I not know that? Nobody's ever asked me that, but now I know the answer. Thanks for listening to some fun facts for you on a Wednesday.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by RadioReallyWorks.com. I know you're listening to a podcast, but did you know the John and Heidi Show is also a radio show? And for those of you who have businesses, you should consider using radio to advertise your business. We can even help you create some catchy little jingles or amazing radio ads that will help pull people in. Get all the details or just learn more at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. McDonald's is having some trouble keeping customers recently. I'll tell you why. It says here they just can't seem to keep people happy. Is it because they're watching their weight and their cholesterol levels? Perhaps. But according to their own research, McDonald's says that people are upset with their McService at McDonald's. Seems people are not getting treated the way they want to be. And when somebody complains to the McManagement, 70% of those are still unsatisfied with the way their McComplaint is handled. So it's not surprising why some people may not go back to McDonald's. And they even complain about McDonald's to their McFriends. Others are upset that they run out of McHappy Meals too quickly.
This is super annoying.
What is?
The Mick.
I'm throwing that in there myself. Should I quit doing that?
Yes, please.
It is McLikely that... it's actually likely even worse than it appears because most people that have problems just don't come back and they don't tell anybody. McDonald's is certain that the problem lies in their hiring young and inexperienced workers at low wages. They say the lack of customer service is costing them about $750 million a year in lost
But
sales.
you know what? Don't you think a lot of that here, especially recently, has been coming ever since these underskilled, underage employees started demanding $15 an hour?
I know.
And so now they're all bent out of shape,
Yeah.
and they're purposely giving bad service because they didn't get $15 an
not.
hour?
I know on social media, anytime somebody has a problem at any fast food place, they post about it and they'll go, yeah,
And they want
that's worth
$15
$15
an hour. Yeah.
And I'm like, can we please get over that? I mean, seriously? That's like,
But I just wonder if
posts.
it's not an aggravation
I hope
thing.
not.
The
Be
decline
thankful
in
that
service.
you have a job and do a good job and earn a raise. I'm just saying,
Or earn the respect of a customer who comes in there
Yeah.
who maybe is a business owner that could offer
I'll
you
tell
a better
this.
job.
I remember having a job that wasn't a great job. I loved it. I had fun there. And it was there that I met my next employer because
Mm-hmm.
they said, wow, what a bright, happy, cheerful guy. We should have you on the radio. Maybe not quite what they said. But anyway, the figures indicate that 1% of all complaints were also scammers, people just trying to get a free lunch.
Oh, yeah, I
So
can
they'll
see
come
that.
and complain saying, hey, I had a bad situation
Yep, I
with
can
this,
see that.
and I want my meal for free. So that's also a factor. So I kind of feel bad for McDonald's. We've had a lot of bad news from them lately. So here's some good news. They still have delicious freaking fries. I mean, those are so good.
And those filet of fish
yum.
sandwiches,
Now I'm
they
getting
are
hungry.
fantastic.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
Who's more of a grumpy pants in the morning, Heidi? Men or women?
I think it depends on the household.
Okay. Generally, do you think it's men or women? I'm not moving on until you say one or the other.
I can only speak from our house.
Don't make me grumpy on this deal.
And that would be both of us.
No, one of us has to be. Is it men or women? Just say men or women.
I'm going to say women.
If you answered men, you'd be wrong. Women is the correct answer. So good job, Heidi. High five on that. Boom. Women, according to science, wake up grumpier than men. Why? It's because they're not getting enough sleep. Researchers at Duke University found that women suffer more on the less sleep situation than men do. More depression, more anger, and more hostility. Women need 20 more minutes of sleep than men do, on average. You get way more than 20 more minutes than I do.
You stay up for well,
I do.
no, I don't really, because you fall asleep before I even go upstairs and go to bed. So you're sitting there in front of the TV sleeping, and I just go to bed. So
That doesn't
really, you
count.
get more sleep than
Does that
I
count?
do. Yes, it counts.
We'll watch a movie. We'll literally put it in. I'm like, this looks like an awesome... Falling asleep. I cannot. I try. I just can't. I can't stay awake. When I sit down, I'm out.
Yep.
So, there you go. Anyway, guys, if your wife is kind of cranky, that's why. Because scientifically, she's supposed to be, I think. I don't know. Coming up, we're going to talk about chocolate. Could it be good for you? Maybe. We'll tell you all
Oh my
about that in a bit.
gosh.
John and Heidi.
What do you think of this headline, Heidi? Could chocolate be good for your cholesterol?
Well, we've talked about chocolate being good for you many times, so
Chocolate?
I'm going to say yes.
Chocolate lovers are going to love this, while most of us are told candy's bad for you. The Mars Candy Company says the latest confectionery creation might actually help lower your cholesterol. The candy giant said they did a study with researchers at the University of Illinois, showed that daily consumption of its Cocoa Via, that sounds interesting, it's a dark chocolate, it significantly lowered a total of cholesterol by 2% in LDL or bad cholesterol levels by up to 5.3%. The candy bars have a plant sterol, and their guaranteed levels of cocoa flavonoids, natural compounds found in certain vegetable oils, cereals, and fruits, which have previously been shown to be effective in lowering cholesterol levels, according to some nutritionists.
All right,
Did
there
any
you
of
go.
that make any sense to you?
Sure.
It didn't. I got the. Here's what I got from
It
that.
means chocolate is good for you, so you
Here's
should
what I
eat
got.
it.
Yummy chocolate, not so bad for you. But it has to be this Cocoa Via, dark chocolate. I've never seen those before. I'm going to have to look for them now, because now I'm hungry for chocolate, too.
There you go.
Coming up, we're going to talk about Snapchat. Do you know what that is?
I do.
All right. Well, if you don't know what it is, we're going to tell you a little more about that here in a bit.
Do you like fun t-shirts? Our friends at 80s Tees have a bunch of fun designs from the movies and pop culture. This month, we're giving you a chance to win a $25 credit to buy the t-shirt you like. With designs from Star Wars, Superman, Ghostbusters, Deadpool, and hundreds of others. Sign up to win a $25 credit. Register for free right now at winthisonline.com. We will select 2 winners at the end of this month. You could be one of them, but only if you register at winthisonline.com.
Are you on Snapchat?
No.
I'm not on Snapchat. I'm not even really necessarily certain that I know what that is.
Taylor tried to get me to use it, and I had it on my phone for a while, and I deleted it. It was
our daughter has it, and I just didn't get it. I don't understand why you'd want to do that. And if your kids say Snapchat is private, they're wrong. Smartphone users, especially kids, teens, and 20-somethings, have taken a liking to this thing called Snapchat. It's an app that provides real-time picture chatting. Supposedly super private, since the sender of the photo and the messages choose an expiration time, say 10 minutes. Once that time lapses, the chat session and the photo vanish forever.
Right.
Sounds private, right? Not really. The guys at the tech website Mashable remind us that the recipients can take a screenshot or simply use another smartphone or
they
camera
save it, you bet.
to capture that. And then it's out there forever, no matter what Snapchat tells you.
That's right.
First of all, I don't understand why we would need this. It's like, remember when we were kids, there was a cartoon, Inspector Gadget, and he would read the message and he would say, "This message will self-destruct."
Oh, yeah.
And then he'd read it and he'd crumple it up and it would always explode and hurt that guy that gave it to him.
Yeah.
Like every single time. Not sure how that guy didn't die, but anyway, that's kind of what this is. It's like Inspector Gadget's, "This message will self-destruct." But the problem is, it doesn't.
Right.
If it's something that you don't want somebody to see, don't
send it.
Send it in the first place.
Yep.
I mean, that doesn't even make sense to me why there's a need for this app. And if you're a user of it and you're a big fan of it, keep doing what you're doing. I'm just telling you, I have a feeling that it'll probably backfire someday, and you'll say, "Wow, I should have probably listened to that idiot on the radio."
Oh, it backfires a lot on a lot
does.
of people.
Yeah, there are
it's
people
unfortunate.
They
but,
think, "Hey,
well.
I can get away with this because it's going to go away right away." Well, no, there's a way to screenshot things. I'm not smart, and I know how to do that. So it's not that I'm, screenshotting Snapchats, but I needed to learn how to screenshot something, and I figured it out. It's pretty darn easy. And if I can figure it out, so can a 12-year-old. They probably already knew how to do it.
Right.
All right, coming up, we've got some good news. That is on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap this program up with some good news, and I actually have 2 things if I've got time to get to it. But the first one is this. An Indiana farmer has turned his farm into a nonprofit to feed the hungry. This is a neat idea. Indiana farmer Jonathan Lawler decided to donate his entire harvest to people in need. The gesture will reportedly amount to about 500,000 pounds of food this first year. Lawler said he was one of those people who were unable to have the food that they wanted. He was in a dire situation, and he said there's a dire food situation in our community right now. Once he heard the facts, he realized that he could turn his 32 acres into a resource for people in need. And since then, he's created a nonprofit called Brandywine Creek Farms. He's partnered with a number of local soup kitchens and food pantries who are going to help distribute all the food.
So how does he pay his bills?
I don't know.
I mean, how does he pay for the seed and everything?
I have no clue. I don't know if maybe he's done well and this is something
His
that he's
way of giving
doing.
back?
Or maybe this is, just part of the farm, but it's a 32-acre farm. That's, there are people out there that have hundreds of acres, so this might just be, one section of his farm. I'm not sure. All I know is I think it's really neat that he's doing it. And I do have a link if you'd like to read the entire story. I'll throw that on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. And I got to tell you about this. This is really cool. Next time you lose your phone, this ever happened to you where you don't know where you put your phone?
Yeah.
Well, a simple Google search, this is either really cool or really scary. A simple Google search may be able to help you in the future. Google recently announced a new phone finding feature for Android users, and they're tying it to their search engine. Simply type in Find My Phone into Google.
Oh, my gosh.
And it'll result with a map with the last known location of your phone. You could also choose to ring the phone from this page to make it easier to find as well.
Couldn't anybody use that app to find out where you are?
I think you have to be logged into your account, I believe. I'm going to mess around with that later today and see how that works. It's Find My Phone.
That's a little disturbing.
It is kind of scary, but it's also kind of cool. The future is here, people. I hope we're all ready for this stuff. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you again for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the good folks at Knowles Systems. If you haven't heard of them, well, you need to listen up because I got to tell you all about this. If you have funds earning less than 6%, maybe you should check into a better system like Knowles Systems. They have commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. If you've never heard of a commercial mortgage bridge loan, I'm going to tell you what this is. It's a loan paying 6% to 8%, and it could be just what you need. You're placed in the first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels and apartments and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges. You can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. If you'd like more info on how you can start earning 6% or more right now, call 888-547-8007. I'll give you that number again in a second, but first, you might want to just check out the website if that's easier. commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. Again, commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com or 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
Memphis, Tennessee is where we're going to head for our bonus break, brought to you by WinThisOnline.com. If you are a business that would like to give away some cool prizes, you can also use that website to do that. And if you're just a person who likes to win neat stuff, we've got some really neat stuff to win on there. It's WinThisOnline.com. Memphis, Tennessee. Alan Glazier was driving a stolen Greyhound bus. Well, you already know this is going to be an interesting story. He stole his first bus in Kansas, drove it to Jackson, Mississippi, where he stole another bus, and drove that to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, stole yet another Greyhound bus, and drove that to Memphis. It was a stop at a truck stop that got him in trouble. After filling up the bus, Glazier told the attendant to bill it to Greyhound. While he was waiting for his receipt, the police were called. So I'm not exactly sure how he stole so many buses and if he had passengers on said buses, if he was driving people there. I'm not exactly sure what that was all about. Was he driving people too?
Well, he must.
What just
I'm
happened there?
assuming he
Our
was.
driver was arrested. Well, he wasn't really the driver. He stole
Wow,
this bus.
that's
He was the best fake driver I've ever had. That is bizarre. Hey, Doc, did you wash your hands? You might want to start asking that. In an era of rising rates of drug-resistant infections and an overburdened medical staff, hygiene experts say the best protected patients are those willing to take safety into their own hands by asking healthcare workers to please wash your hands before you touch me. It says here doctors and nurses are only washing their hands half as often as they should. So if you're going to see a doc, say, I love you and all, but please wash your hands before you touch me. That's what
we've
they're
talked
saying.
about that too.
Have we really?
Yes.
How do I not remember this stuff?
I don't know.
A recent study concludes a significant number of teens are very susceptible to peer pressure, and they have permissive or absent parents. It makes it even worse. So a study's lead author...
They
Dr.
really needed to do a study on whether or not kids are apt
Susceptible to peer pressure?
to give in to peer pressure. That's the most ridiculous.
Dr. Frank Scott says teens who text 120 times a day or more seems to be a lot of them. Oh, and they're more likely to have sex or used alcohol or drugs than kids who don't send as many messages. So they're saying if your kid is sending a lot of text messages, they may be doing some naughty stuff. Really?
Yeah, you and I both look at each other like, I think we need to take a phone away from a
Her
little
daughter's
girl.
on a phone a lot. But as much as she's on there, she wouldn't have time to do any of that other stuff. Hey, pulling an all-nighter can kill brain cells. New research indicates that missing out on sleep can actually give you brain damage. It's a certain kind of brain damage. It also calls into question the idea of sleep debt. They say the study indicates you can't really make up for sleep that you miss, and the damage is irreversible. So if you stay up all night working on something, you'll never, ever, ever be able to catch up on that sleep. So they're claiming that's a bad plan.
Right.
I agree with that.
I do too.
Kenneth Payne got a 16-year prison sentence after being convicted of stealing a Snickers candy bar. 16 years, Heidi.
Yikes.
16 years in jail seems a little stiff for that, but it's not the first time that his sweet tooth landed him in trouble. He had a previous conviction for stealing some Oreos.
Well,
The
so then
DA
he's a repeat offender.
Yeah, the DA said Payne he's a habitual offender, and they bumped the misdemeanor shoplifting charge to a felony. His lawyer is planning on appealing it. That could be a commercial for Snickers
I
right
would
there.
assume that the appeal will go through because
Yeah.
that's very extreme for a Snickers.
Yeah. Snickers are delicious, but I don't think 16 years is
No.
worth a Snickers. So.
No.
All right. And our final story for our bonus break. A good rule of thumb for criminals is probably not a good idea to ask for help from the person you just robbed. Police in Toronto arrested a man for robbing an attorney's office. While questioning him at the police station, cops advised the crook that he probably should contact an attorney. Guess who he called? The same attorney he had just burglarized.
Oh my gosh.
Police then advised him, you should probably call another attorney.
He's not going to do a very good job defending you.
Hey, I need some help. For what? Well, they're trying to throw me in jail for robbing your place. I need an attorney to represent me. I'm not going to be your attorney.
Oh, goodness.
All right. There's your bonus break, brought to you by WinThisOnline.com, where winning is just the beginning. If you've got a business and you'd like to utilize this website to give away some cool prizes, it is a really neat thing. My friend actually started this website, so don't be afraid of it because it sounds like it's some big, huge national monster thing. It's really not. It's just a small little company, and they can help you give away prizes. And if you'd like to win stuff, you can utilize that to win some cool prizes. Right now, we've got a deal. We're working with the people at 80stees.com to win some T-shirts there, Zubas.com to win some cool Zubas, and there's even like a movie download on there. So from anywhere in the country, you can log on, and you can sign in, and you can win. It's free to register at WinThisOnline.com. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.